Welcome to In the Glow. I'm Desiree Deb, the Senior Research and Education Manager, and the lovely lady next to me is Deborah Kilgore. Tell them what you do here.
Oh, thank you. Yes, like she said, I'm Deborah Kilgore, and I'm the Director of Educational Programs.
And we know that at Paula's Choice, we have a lot of products. It can be overwhelming for people at times trying to sort through what to use and even how to get a skincare routine started. So we figured we'd start at the basics today and just help you figure out which products you need if you just want more of the bare bones, just the sturdy essentials to get you through. And then if you want to add on some more advanced products, we have recommendations for you there as well. But one thing I want to mention is this is interactive. We want to take questions from you guys. So as we're chatting, write in with your questions. Our lovely person behind the camera is Allie, and she will be asking us the questions as you write them in. So let's just keep it going. But to start out, I think the first place you have to start when you're trying to figure out how to begin a skincare routine and what types of products you need, you have to know your skin type.
Exactly.
That is the first and foremost. It's going to dictate everything from there.
It's going to be one of the key drivers and really start directing you on which products you should select. So I think skin type, and then the next thing would be skin concerns.
Yes, which can be a lot of different things. It could be acne, it could be, signs of aging, wrinkles. It could be, you might be concerned with dark spots. There are so many different things to factor in. So we're going to show you our tips, but also know that on our website, we have a routine finder.
It's so helpful.
So helpful, so easy. If you just go to the homepage and scroll down, you'll find it. I think it's just 4 questions.
4 questions, yep. 4 simple questions, and it will guide you into having what we would describe as kind of an essential, which essentially means more simple or something more comprehensive, which I think they label it as advanced, and that just means some extra steps, which we'll get into in a little bit.
Yes. So every good skincare routine starts with a cleanser. I think
absolutely.
That one's pretty self-explanatory. You need to be getting your makeup off. If you're wearing makeup, you need to get your sunscreen off. If you're wearing sunscreen, which hopefully you are, you should be. But there's also just the daily grime that accumulates on your face and oil and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and I think one important thing is like bar soap, no. Like a cleanser is an easy step in terms of concept, but making sure that you have the right cleanser. Yeah. So ideally a water-soluble, gentle, fragrance-free cleanser is going to be best for you.
Yeah, ditch the hard, like those abrasive, gritty scrubs.
Not good.
You know what kind I'm talking about if you've used them in the past. You don't want that. The other thing to think about, too, is, as Deb mentioned, fragrance-free. I remember back in the day using these cleansers that were loaded with fragrance, and I didn't think it was doing anything to my skin. And luckily, because cleansers are left on the skin for a much less amount of time than your other products, it's less concerning, but it's still a factor.
It is, absolutely.
Daily use of fragrance products really does add up. It causes inflammation, a whole host of other problems. So even though it seems like it would be less worrisome in a cleanser, you still want to go fragrance-free. And of course, at Paula's Choice, everything's
fragrance-free. And when I was in customer service for years, we used to talk to people who would say they got these immediate results. And part of that, I think, was we have great products. The other part was they were stopping things like using fragrance. And they didn't realize at the time that that was causing a problem.
Yes. So then the next step, and we're talking again, this is the essential, really the bare bones. These are the exact products you need to really just get you through, and then we'll go in and add the more advanced later. But the next step would be your not necessarily BHA, your exfoliant step.
Exactly. Could be an AHA or BHA. In this case, this is a BHA, another option for salicylic acid, but either one of those.
Yeah. And exfoliation for Paula's Choice means something different than it does in a lot of the other industry. As we were mentioning, those gritty, abrasive scrub cleansers that actually tear at skin are what a lot of people
do
think
more
of
harm
as,
than good.
That do more harm than good.
No value add there.
Or what a lot of people think of as an exfoliant, and we do it so differently. We have these leave-on chemical exfoliants. So if you don't know which you need, it goes back to skin type.
Right.
If you have more of the dry, sun-damaged skin, AHAs do a beautiful job of exfoliating the surface of your skin, kind of resurfacing things. If you have texture issues, flakiness.
Exactly. They're a water-soluble cleanser that primarily works on the surface of skin to remove those dry, dead, built-up skin cells. And AHA also helps hydrate the skin a bit as well.
It does. Yep. That you would not be getting that with another type of exfoliation if you were doing the manual exfoliation. AHAs really do bring in all these other properties that you just can't get, that go below this, that get deeper.
Exactly.
Get deeper than what you can get with a manual scrub. And then with BHA, it's best for if you have congested pores, any sort of pore issues, bump issues. Normal to oily combination skin types do really, really well with it. But even if you were somebody with pore issues, if you had, breakouts and things of that nature, BHA is going to be your best bet because BHA is oil soluble. It can get into the pore, help with decongesting, help with the built up dead skin cells that get in there. Versus AHA doesn't go quite that deep. It doesn't work in that same manner. But so you also are going to get that surface level exfoliation with BHA. It's not that it only goes into the pore. You're getting it all over as well. But that's the easiest way to kind of think of the two different skin types for those exfoliants.
And BHA also, it's salicylic acid, which is related to acetylsalicylic acid, so it has a minor analgesic property to it. So if someone says, hey, I've tried AHA, can't use it, BHA could be a great option to consider, especially if you have sensitivity or redness.
Yeah. There's people in the office who use both, but we're trying to keep the essential right now. Trying to keep it simple for you because we know it can get overwhelming, and also for budgetary reasons. Some people don't want every product under their sun, and I completely get that. Yep. So your next step would be your nighttime moisturizer. We also have a daytime, which we'll get to in a second. The difference between daytime and nighttime is really SPF. Our formulas do feature different ingredients as well, but there's not like one certain type of ingredient that's going to work best at night versus day besides sunscreen. You can really interchange on the ingredients in that way.
Exactly. And I think for our moisturizers, both day and night, they're really loaded with a host of great ingredients: skin replenishers, skin soothers, antioxidants, which we love so much. And so, nighttime option is just a great way to not only hydrate, but really restore skin with all those wonderful ingredients we know it needs.
Looks like we have a question.
We do. What is the difference between the Resist Daily Pore Refining Treatment 2% BHA that you have right there and our Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid?
There's a couple differences. One is texture. So with the Skin Perfecting, it has, I would call, a little bit more of a substantial texture. They're both liquids.
And people describe it different ways. Some people will say it has kind of this slick feeling, or some people will say it kind of is tacky on the skin, like it doesn't completely dry all the way, which is absolutely normal for that product.
Right.
And that's actually a part of the ingredient deck. It has an ingredient that's a penetrating, enhancing ingredient. So it goes a little deeper and a little quicker.
Yes. And then with this one, it's just a bit more water light, and then you get some extra beneficials in there, some extra antioxidants. So they both have the same percentage of salicylic acid. They're both going to work great. It's kind of just down to your personal preference on that. It's funny because I've talked about this before, but I stick with the cult classic, the Skin Perfecting 2% BHA liquid. Even though I know this one has some extra beneficials in it, there's just something about feeling that more substantial texture that in my mind.
It's that sensorial.
And knowing that it has the penetration enhancing, I just know it's going to go to work the fastest.
But I think this is a really good option if we're especially if we're talking about keeping your routine kind of simple and not having to buy a bunch of products. This one really is a great option because the whole Resist concept is about anti-aging. And so this is exfoliating with some extra bells and whistles in terms of those anti-aging ingredients. So.
And if you buy the kit, the essential kit, you do get a discount as well. So it's kind of just a nice way to get everything all together and get that savings at the same time.
Exactly.
So then we were on our moisturizer step, so we already covered the nighttime moisturizer. And then in the essentials, you also need your sunscreen, of course.
Every routine.
Every routine. You won't hear us do it. Welcome to In the Glow without sunscreen mentioned.
We know.
But the thing about Paula's Choice is that we know sunscreen is such a tricky thing for people. We know it really comes down to finding textures you like. Yeah. So in this case, this one is a cream. It dries down to a semi-matte finish, but if you have the drier skin, we have options for that as well. If you have more of combination skin, we have more fluid options. We just want to give you as many options as you can because we need you to use sunscreen. We want you to save your skin. It's going to be like nothing else we sell you.
Number one anti-aging product, hands down. And I think that's actually a great mention is that we have a lot of formulas, but we have a lot of formulas intentionally because there's so many different skin types, so many different concerns. Then when you start layering in texture preference, on and on, we want to have a wide option for people to select from.
Yeah, which we know can get confusing. But again, if you do that routine finder, put in your skin type, put in your skin concerns, it will really easily navigate you to what options would be good for you. We also happen to have the best client services team around. Paula has personally trained them. A lot of them are estheticians. Deb personally trains them. We just are a company who is constantly educating our team members and staying up on the research. So I would say in our company, they're at the top of the knowledge base. They know these products inside out. They know ingredients inside out.
And tons of tips and tricks, and just if something isn't working, they can help you with that too.
Yeah.
One more point about this, our sunscreens, because I think obviously everybody's familiar with sunscreen, but ours are really daytime moisturizers with antioxidants and these other great ingredients too. So sunscreen, I feel like, I don't know, it's not quite enough for what Paula's Choice products are.
Yeah, we had a question earlier about someone said, is a daytime cream with SPF going to be enough to protect me? And I think there is a misconception about what an SPF moisturizer can do. If there's a difference between a moisturizer with SPF and a sunscreen, like a pure.
I get the question.
Yeah, I think from a protecting standpoint, a sunscreen's going to be great. A daytime moisturizer with sunscreen's going to be great. I think with ours, we kind of take it a level up. So you're getting those antioxidants and those other skin beneficial ingredients in there, which are also helping do some of the work against environmental damage that we're exposed to. So it's kind of like bonus.
Yeah, and as long as your daytime moisturizer with SPF is broad spectrum and at least SPF 30, you are getting enough protection. We do preach a lot about layering your SPF, so that just helps ensure your protection all day long that much better, especially if you're worried about it breaking down. If you've been outside, reapplication is a really good idea, but if you don't have the means to reapply, say you've got makeup on, we also have an SPF powder that you can easily touch up your sunscreen with.
Exactly.
We have a primer with SPF that you could layer under your moisturizer with SPF.
That works with just about any of them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More protection is good.
We had a question, what sunscreen do you guys recommend for dry skin in a humid environment?
Oh, interesting.
Good question.
For dry skin.
I mean,
I think a lot of people with dry skin will gravitate towards a mineral-based sunscreen, but those can actually be a little bit thicker in consistency. So a chemical or synthetic sunscreen might be a great option because they're really lightweight in texture.
Yeah, even the Resist SPF 50, even though it has this nice hydration to it, it doesn't feel heavy on skin. It's not going to feel occlusive.
Just absorbs completely and blends away. And I actually think that's super unique because you don't tend to find synthetic sunscreens for normal to dry skin.
Yeah.
And so the fact that we have that synthetic version in an SPF 50, that could be a really good option.
Yeah, so on the website, it would be the dark blue Resist, the Resist for normal to dry, their SPF 50. I think, is it skin restoring something? You know what? The names are too long for me to remember. Even for me, I work here.
We see them all day.
We see them all day. We just have so many products. It's hard to keep their names straight. Any other questions before we move on?
We have some questions about SPF 100, a rating of 100 or higher, and whether that is
necessary.
You
know, for a long time, Paula's looked at the research on this, and yes, high SPFs are great anytime you're getting into 30 and 50. That's great. Going much beyond 50 is not getting your skin that much more protection. And the ingredients it takes to get to that SPF number, that SPF 100, are probably going to end up either leaving a white cast or...
You're upping the risk of irritation too because you're adding so many actives, and nothing aside from a physical block of some sort is going to block 100% of the rays.
There's always a tiny percentage getting through. So there's a slight bit more protection with 100 than, say, versus an SPF 50, but it's so minimal that it doesn't really make sense to have to do that jump. It's not that it's going to harm your skin unless you are getting an irritation response from that SPF 100, but it's just not really necessary.
I think those higher numbers, when dermatologists started recommending, I mean, gosh, I remember when it was 15. Do you remember that? And now it's 30 and now 50, these higher numbers. But part of that really was because dermatologists and other people in the industry knew that people just weren't applying it liberally enough. Mm-hmm. So if they got a higher SPF, they were getting more, which hopefully was giving them a bit better protection. So.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Just apply it liberally to begin with, and then you don't have that concern in the first place. Anything else before we move on? Okay. So those are the essentials. To back it up, cleanser, of course, we all need to do that. Start the day off right, end the night by getting everything off. The exfoliant is really the step that a lot of other lines leave out. It's the step that makes the biggest difference.
The game changer. That's the step that people can see results like super quickly.
And then everything else that you put on works that much better. You
Absorption.
don't have that built up layer of dead skin that is kind of holding your skin back and making your skin look dull. Everything penetrates just a little bit better. Everything looks smoother. Your makeup goes on smoother. So if you have not tried one of our exfoliants, I would say this is the biggest game changer I hear from everybody, adding that to their routine, which is why we include it with our essential routine. And then, of course, both of the moisturizer options for your hydration, and just loaded with those replenishing, hydrating ingredients, anti-aging ingredients, everything you need to give your skin back that becomes depleted with age and sun damage and just environmental stressors.
All of it.
All of it.
So what if we want to do a little more? Or what if we have certain concerns that we want to tackle, or just want to add a little something to the routine?
So the very next step
Love
after
this
a
one.
cleanser, if you're going to go the more advanced route, would be toner. And toners that we do are so different than the toners of yesteryear and the toners from you might see from other brands. Our toners are not astringents that are stripping skin. It is complete opposite.
Exactly. And I think, it's interesting if you look back at toners, part of why they would recommend using a toner, lots of brands, is because you were disrupting your skin's pH so much with the cleansers or other things that you were doing that this was going to help reset it. Well, ideally, with a gentle cleanser, you're not going through that in the first place. There is a little bit of disruption as a part of the process, but it's minimal. So a toner is like, I don't know, it's like a drink for skin. They're super cool. It's
Damn good drink for
yes,
skin.
right? I mean, it's a form of hydration. It's giving you a bunch of great ingredients. We keep saying antioxidants, skin replenishing ingredients, but it's so true that we really can't get too many of those ingredients.
Yeah, and it may seem, if you haven't used a toner before or you haven't used a good one, it might seem like, okay, it's not that necessary of a step. But I will say for myself, when I started using Paula's Choice toners, it's one of the things where now I won't travel without it. My skin feels so much better right after cleansing.
Especially
You
for
can
travel.
feel that replenishment
Yeah.
instantly after you cleanse by using a toner. You don't even have to use a cotton pad if you don't want to, especially with the Resist for Normal to Dry toner. It's got this milky texture. The Skin Recovery kind of has this milky texture too that you can just put in the palms of your hands and apply directly to skin.
And I put some toner in an opaque container. It needs to be opaque always, but when I'm traveling, I'll do a little spritz of toner. Like if you're flying and your skin feels dry, just spritz it all over. So
I love
think
that.
That's great. Another note is in the summer, this could act as a moisturizer, right?
Yes.
So if we were really in a hot and humid location, you're like, I just don't want to put on this nighttime moisturizer, but I want all the great ingredients, a toner could sub for that. And in the winter, it could add hydration,
Yeah.
adding it to your routine.
Yeah, it's just another layer of hydration.
Do you guys recommend washing or not washing your face in the morning and instead using a toner if you've washed it the night before?
So you can do that, and actually occasionally I do that. If you are applying like a lot of creams and serums and treatments at night and you feel like you wake up the next day and sometimes you can still feel a
all
bit
the
of that on
product,
your skin. And if you just kind of want to give it a reset, and especially if you're more oily skin prone, it's a good idea to start the morning with a cleanse. But do you absolutely hands down have to? No.
I really
And
think it's a matter of personal preference.
I think it's a matter of personal preference. There are definitely times where I do skip my cleanser step and just do the toner.
Yeah.
So just depends. Either way, you're going to be fine. Okay, so it goes, when we're adding in the advanced, so we've done the cleanser, the toner, you would then do your exfoliant, whether you do an AHA or BHA. No need to wait between those steps. No need to wait on the next step after that. Everything just goes like that.
One right after
going
the
to
other.
reduce the effectiveness.
Good point. Yep.
So then if you were going to add in something more advanced, you might be thinking of a booster, which in our case are these lightweight formulas. They each have a little bit different of a texture, but they're all about these concentrated ingredients that target specific skin concerns. And we have boosters for different things. Our niacinamide booster is really great for enlarged pores. It also has anti-aging, anti-wrinkle benefits. The peptide booster This is a really nice one.
Yeah, all signs of aging. There's 8 different peptides in here, and what I think is cool about these peptides is they each kind of have their own little job to do.
Yeah.
So if you need a little extra hydration or a little firming or a little, dealing with the fine lines and wrinkles, this is really a powerhouse booster.
There's even a peptide in there that helps with uneven skin tone. That's why we chose several different peptides, because they each really do have their own function.
Yeah.
And that way you're giving your skin like a really nice, well-rounded way to just look healthier, smoother, more plump, young. And this, in order of when you would use it, because these are lightweight textures, again, each booster has a different texture. So there are some that are a bit thicker, so you would kind of judge where they're at in your routine, because we always say go
thinnest to
thickest texture.
Yep.
But for the sake of what we have out here right now, still cleanser, toner, exfoliant, then your booster.
And you can apply it alone, or you could mix it in with your nighttime moisturizer. We just say don't mix boosters or serum, which we'll get to in a second, in your daytime moisturizer.
With your SPF, because it could be diluting the SPF.
A question going back to the exfoliant step. Do you guys have a recommendation for somebody who has dry, mature skin?
Ooh, yes. Our resist, well, would you say AHA 5% or 10%?
Yeah, I would probably start with it depends too. If somebody, have they had experience with AHA or leave-on exfoliants before? I think the 5% is a safe bet for a wide variety of consumers, and then they could do that 10% if they want to up the game a bit.
And the 5% has this nice kind of lotion-like, nice creamy texture. Like Deb said earlier, AHAs also have hydrating properties, but that creamier lotion-like texture is going to give you some of that hydration as well. So you're getting 2 benefits in one. And man, does it leave your skin soft.
It does.
So the dryness will be addressed, the flakiness will be addressed, and just like that overall softer quality. Good question. Anything else before we move on? Okay.
All right.
So then, serums. We have several different serums. This one just happens to be our Power Berry serum, loaded with
I think we have like
antioxidants.
8 serums now.
Of course we do. We have to make it complicated. But again, we're all about giving you different textures, different key ingredients. This one happens to be more on the natural side, so if that's something that appeals to you, our whole earth-sourced line in general, it's more on the natural side. Even though at Paula's Choice, we always say, great skincare is a marriage of both. It's science, research-backed ingredients, synthetic ingredients, and the best of what nature has to offer as well. But if you personally want to go a certain way with it, Earth Source for natural is a great way to go.
And maybe we should talk about the difference between, really quickly, a serum and a booster, because I think there's sometimes some confusion there. It's like, well, it's this added step, and they both have these great ingredients, but like, what is the difference? And a booster really is about one key ingredient. Now, it has other supporting ingredients, because we think, it's like you can't just eat spinach, can't rely on one ingredient, no matter how good it is, but peptide is the hero ingredient in this product, whereas a serum is really going to have a blend of multiple ingredients. There isn't one that we're focusing on in a serum.
And a serum will still be concentrated. It'll still have a high concentration of those anti-aging ingredients, versus in the peptide booster or any of the other boosters, it's really and truly that you're almost getting like the max concentration of that particular ingredient. Question.
Which should go first, niacinamide booster or pore purifier?
I would say you could really do either, but the niacinamide booster is a thinner texture, so I would personally layer that one first.
Yeah, I would say try it both ways.
Yeah.
Honestly, in whichever one you like best, that's part of the fun of it too, is like, you can mix and match and you can mix it up.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever feels good on your skin and kind of fits into your routine.
And we like to give you guys ideas for the order, but just as you're saying, it's not going to make or break the routine if you do things out of order. You're
still getting the ingredients.
You're still getting the ingredients, and the way things are formulated, they're formulated to stay stable. You're not going to be reducing the effectiveness by switching up the order. In fact, sometimes I go out of order with my exfoliant step and do my exfoliant before my toner.
Look at you.
Okay, so that was just another example of a product you might be adding in. Our serums, again, they do focus a lot on antioxidants, and then you get these other key anti-aging ingredients as well. And antioxidants, we just know how much environmental stressors and sun damage get at your skin on a daily basis. antioxidants go in, they help neutralize that, they help offset it, they help reverse it to a certain extent that's possible.
For sure.
And just keep your skin healthier and functioning in a way that it's going to help itself out.
Yeah, and the same thing. You can use that alone, or you could mix it in with your nighttime moisturizer if you want to do one step.
If someone does not have dry skin but lives in a humid place, is it okay for them to use a serum and not a moisturizer?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yes.
Absolutely.
As long as they're still getting their SPF during the day. But yeah, I mean, there's quite often in my routine, I don't use a moisturizer at all unless it's under my eye area. I either rely on one of my serums or my toner to get that moisture hydration that I need. But I'm very, very oily, so I'm not every person out there. But you don't have to.
That's a good point. Yeah. I mean, in the summer, I kind of taper my routine back, especially if it starts to get warm and humid. In the winter, I might, add some things on for that additional hydration.
And it's pretty amazing once you stop using, the irritating formulas, the high alcohols, and the fragrance-based ingredients, and all of those irritating things, and get yourself on a good routine, you'll find that maybe your skin type isn't what you thought it was. So maybe you're not as dry as you thought you were. You were using products that were drying you out. So once you get on the right path, you might find you need either lighter moisturizers or just less moisturizer in general. So it'll be interesting to see as you get going the results you have.
Yeah, exactly. So we have another booster, but this one is unique because this is really it's a booster, but it's a targeted treatment as well. So this is getting into you have your routine, things are going good, but you have some stubborn discolorations or, it could be post-acne marks, those sorts of things that are kind of bugging you. This would be a great addition. And just the texture of this product, it is a little bit thicker, and it's designed that way because, this is probably my personal one because I use it every day. We'll see if we can get a little out.
There
we
go.
I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is a little bit thicker consistency, which makes it perfect for those targeted areas on the face. This is great for, sun damage, melasma, hyperpigmentation, etc.
And with all of our specialty treatments like that, they're each going to have a different texture. So just fit it into your routine. Again, kind of go to that thinnest to thickest texture. But again, if you go out of order, it's also not going to be detrimental. You're still getting good ingredients to your skin.
And you could use this day or night. Make sure you're wearing your sunscreen. But a lot of people I find when they're doing those targeted treatments, they tend to use it at night. And I think that's, for a lot of people, they just want to have a more simple routine in the morning. So add it down there.
Something else you might want to add in is eye cream. And if you've been a longtime Paula's Choice fan, you know that this was a little bit controversial for us when we first launched eye creams, because Paula has always said you don't necessarily need an eye cream, which is still true. I love how we did that in unison.
Together.
But if you're using a great moisturizer, you can absolutely just use that around your eye area. We just really wanted to create something for the people who really do have a different skin type under their eyes. That's for me particularly. I have, my oily skin everywhere else, but my under eye area is drier. We also wanted to make sure we used ingredients that were gentle around the eye area, because we know that skin is extra delicate. And also just for the people who just straight out want to use an eye cream. And that's
we got
okay.
told by, a handful of customers, would let us know that, hey, I got to get my eye cream somewhere else because you guys don't make one. So now we have options.
And we definitely formulated it with ingredients that do kind of address those specific eye area concerns. So in this case, you're getting ceramides. You're also getting a little bit of vitamin C and retinol. Really great for that under eye. If you have a little bit of under eye darkness, if it's caused by sun damage to a certain extent, this can help with that. There's our anti-aging eye gel, which is really great if you have under eye puffiness. It has this cooling applicator that you can use, rock back and forth and massage.
Do that during the day and use something like this at night. I think that's so cool, this eye product, because it really rolls up potentially 3 different steps in one.
Yeah.
With the vitamin C, the ceramides, and the retinol. That's really cool.
And then last but not least, if you really want to get advanced with it, you can mask. And with our masks, a lot of them for the dry skin, you don't have to wash them off. You could leave them on overnight. Think of them as an overnight mask. The more time you have to let those ingredients do their work on your skin, the better, quite honestly.
Exactly.
And if you're really dry, that's going to be great for overnight. For our oily skin masks, similar to this one, our Pore Clarifying Charcoal Gel Mask, put it on for 10 minutes, rinse it off. I always say for the oily skin masks, do them in the morning because you'll see more of that mattifying anti-shine effect all day long.
Great tip. I don't think people think about masking in the
Yeah.
morning, but for oily skin, that's a great tip.
Yes, I know it seems like an extra step, but Shaylee last week had a good tip that just do it before you hit in the shower, and then you can rinse it off in the shower, and you're
Love
good to go.
that. That's good.
Okay, one more question, or we?
Let's go through the full routine now that
Okay.
you have it, and just kind of say as a summary which step everything is.
Okay.
So cleanser, starting the morning off right, getting really prepping for all of these great, wonderful products that are come. So again, cleanser, this would be morning and night, but you might not have to do it in the morning. It's really going to be up to you. You could sub in the toner.
Then the exfoliation step, that could also be morning or night, depends on your preference, also depends on how advanced your skin concerns are. Toner, I say morning and night.
Yes, absolutely.
Non-negotiable on that one.
No, this really is, it's such a cool option. And I know that some people are like, it just feels like an added step, but I say try it. And you know what? If you guys don't like the products, you can send them back. Like, it's totally hassle-free.
Then we have our boosters, serums, and treatments. Again, just go in the order of thinnest to thickest texture.
And people are very interested in what the names of those products are.
Okay, so we have our peptide booster. This is the Power Berry Serum. And then our C25 Super Booster with the 25% vitamin C. If you didn't catch that, 25, that's the percentage. And then your moisturizer steps, your nighttime and your morning with the SPF. Your eye cream, this is the ceramide eye cream that we were talking about earlier, and then your mask step.
And someone just said they've been using the ceramide eye cream for 4 weeks, and it's made a huge difference to their dark circles.
Yay, that's great. That's
If
awesome.
you're ever wondering about the true benefits, look at our customer reviews. I mean, you can look at our product pages that list the benefits, but there's nothing like reading it from people themselves.
Exactly.
And we're not editing reviews. Sometimes they sound so damn good that I'm like, really? Did somebody really say that? But they do.
Yeah.
So check them out, and you'll find some things we can't even say our products do because we're held by certain restrictions that our customers can tell you about. So just check out those reviews.
Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Okay, guys. Well, that was fun.
It was great. Love
Remember
this.
to go to the routine finder if you're just kind of still at a loss for where to start. That's going to help get you through the basics.
And contact customer care. You can call them. That's 1-800-831-4088. They do email and chat as well.
That felt very QVC of us to know the number like that.
right?
I'm glad
Just
I have
whip it out.
Shaylee with me because I never know that phone number. All right, guys.
All right, have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.